Here it is.
What are you talking about?
All your questions will be answered.
Welcome to the world of
Cinema.
That's our take.
Welcome to That's Our Take, where we, the Jacksons, discuss many of the over 12,000 movies we have seen with a focus on classic cinema.
Today, we're going to talk about the stigma of black and white movies. When I suggested this topic to Jason, he immediately thought of how black and white enhances the storytelling. And I was thinking about how people stay away from black and white movies because they find them unrelatable. So we're going to kind of talk about both of those aspects. So let's delve in.
Sounds good. Why don't you start?
Movies in black and white are unrelatable. I think people just think of them as being too old to have stories that are relatable to people in today's society. I think of movies like Sunrise or Behind the Door. Their stories are stories that have probably been told for a long time. They're told in different ways that people may find entertaining or touching, heartwarming, maybe not Behind the Door, but surprising and shocking things that are human connection piece.
Are there movies from this period, in black and white movies also, are there movies that are outdated in theme and topic? Yes. Are there movies that came out within the last 5 years that are outdated? Absolutely.
I wouldn't say outdated, I would say progress. The human nature has a tendency to try to grow beyond what they're and do better, in my opinion, right? And so it's not that it's outdated, it's just progressed. So yeah, there's some movies where they do use language maybe referring to indigenous people in a different tone or Chinese people in a different light, right? Is that appropriate nowadays? No, but it's because we've done better. We've progressed, we've learned and grown, and we understand. And so we do better in representation, hopefully. Is it perfect? No, because there's still things that happen, But when you go back to these films, I think the biggest thing is watching them in the light of this is what was happening during this time period. These were things that were occurring. This is the tone and the view they had towards certain ethnicities, and I think it's kind of nice to go back and view these because you can see progress has been made. There's been a lot of good things that have changed in representation for film. Progress, yes, but sometimes you have to take some of it with like a grain because it's just what it was at that time, but it's not usually the whole film where it's tarnished by something like that.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. I think as the general culture now, the general population now is sort of in this mindset of if one thing is offensive, I'm not going to bother with it.
Yeah, that's true.
Getting someone to sit through like Holiday Inn, which is a fantastic movie, there is a scene where Bing Crosby's in blackface. I can guarantee you people who are digging that movie get to that scene, they'll probably just shut it off. I think you and I and some other cinephiles can watch these movies and be like, okay, well, I mean, we understand where we've come from this. We know how we've changed. There are other good aspects to this movie still.
Yeah, but the point in that movie is that it's never derogatory. It's always in appreciation or admiration of a person.
Oh, I see that, and you see that. I remember once we screened Swing Time for some people, some friends of ours. And there, again, in there, Fred Astaire is in blackface. Now, he's paying homage to a famous dancer, right? Bojangles. He's paying homage to him. So it was just as you're saying. It wasn't meant to be derogatory. It wasn't meant to be racist of any kind. It wasn't meant to be demeaning. It was an homage. I explained this at the beginning, try to warn people. They still just could not accept it. A great majority of them were just so bothered by it, and it tainted their whole experience.
I think that's viewing a movie against the lens of what you know today.
Yeah.
And appropriateness. And so But then I look at something like White Chicks, so
Mhm.
the Wayans brothers dress up, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, it's comedic purpose, right? But it's acceptable.
Yeah, I don't know. This is where it's hard for me to understand because I don't view in the same way other people's view these issues and these things. It does relate to what you're talking about with this stigma with black and white movies. If one thing is not modern or acceptable in modern times, they'll just not even bother.
Yeah, but I think that they put them under the umbrella that it's old, and so it's not relevant anymore. Whereas I feel there's still a lot of good things, but it's not every movie where there might be something derogatory or that hasn't maybe aged well. But I feel it's the same with special effects. There's some things that you have to watch movies special effects wise. I recognize this is what they did at that time, someone
Mhm.
getting out of a building or whatever, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can look at it as, oh, that looks hokey by today's standards, or that was really well done for what they had at the time. And I think it's the lens in which you view it by.
Mhm.
I don't know. But I feel there's a lot of really great black and white cinema out there that has not been appreciated by audiences.
You're right. Not every, and we've seen enough to know there's a vast majority of movies from this era that we're speaking of that aren't culturally offensive. I think that's kind of the big issue. Yeah, I see your point with the special effects, seeing how those things are outdated too. I think people might not view watching bad special effects the same as they view culturally offensive thing. But I totally see what you're saying. There needs to be some sort of forgiveness, and we're not condoning the behavior
Right.
of that time at all. By watching them and enjoying the movie still, I don't feel I'm supporting the negative aspects, and I think people feel that they are. I personally believe that people of this particular time and culture love their fictional characters to be flawed. They love them to be good and bad, to make good decisions and bad decisions. They love the complex characters. But in real life, they do not like that. They cannot appreciate these things. And when they see a movie that has made the decision to do blackface or something, their idea is like, what a horrible person to include that in this. I can't support them. Does that make sense what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand.
And I think the representation of a black and white movie for that is what turns people off. They see, oh, it's a black and white movie. Chances are it's going to be racist or offensive to women or all this, right?
All right.
I feel like black and white photography, uh, shouldn't be a representative of those things when those things still exist in movies.
No, for sure.
Like you said, we're trying to sort of try our best to erase the stigma so that a black and white image is not a representation of things outdated.
Correct. So, like, Sunrise is a great film. It's a silent film, but it shows couple and something I think a lot of couples can relate to,
Yeah.
and marriage and what can feel daunting after a while or commonplace in a marriage, right? And
Hmm.
I mean, not everyone goes to the depths or extremes he's going to go to,
Hmm.
but I think there's a lot of relatability in the film. I think it's a great film to check out because of that. But a lot of people will go, "Oh, it's black and white. Never mind. What
Right.
could this black and white film have to tell me about life nowadays?"
I think it's an excellent movie to use as an example because, I mean, it's kind of got the double stigma, right? Black and white and it's silent. I think it's really relative to anybody in some sort of relationship. Like you said, the parameters are really extreme, but the the heart of it is a real struggle in a relationship of, I would say, a loss of love or romance. Maybe not a total loss, but a weakening, and then how they handle that. A great example, because this is a 100-year-old movie, it still speaks to people. And if they could only just get past false representation of, oh, it's black and white, it's outdated, they can connect to it.
Mhm.
I'm curious because still are occasional black and white movies made today. I'm thinking like Clerks, Good Night and
Sin
Good Luck.
City,
Sin City. City.
The Artist.
The Artist. Do you feel people have a reluctancy to watch these movies too?
Yeah.
Think so?
I think the idea that there's modern actors in them that they know and can relate to helps them come to those films
Mm.
to see them. But if they weren't people they knew, they probably wouldn't be going to see those films.
The recognition of just black and white just turns people off.
I think so.
No, I mean we're excluding cinephiles here. People who
Oh yeah, for sure.
who just gravitate toward movies like this anyway. But the general public is, I think, what we're talking about. And yeah, I agree with you. I think it's just kind of a deal breaker for people.
I think they see old and they think boring.
Yeah. I mean, we know people like that won't even watch something before the last 10 years. Again, I think they worry, why am I going to waste time on something that's not going to relate to me?
Mhm.
It's not entertaining. And
Which is funny to me because then we have period piece movies come out, right?
yeah.
And people go see those, or you have like the Odyssey come out again, period piece,
Yeah.
and they're huge and people love them. And it's funny, they'll watch a movie that's modern period piece film,
Hmm.
but going back and watching a movie during that time frame is almost like heck no. And so it's
Hmm.
just kind of humorous to me that even occurs because period pieces are huge.
Yeah, what a great point. They're looking for something recent, modern, and relative in a period piece. And maybe it's because most period pieces now are made with hindsight and they're also made with modern storytelling techniques.
Yeah, for sure.
But I agree with you. It actually calls to mind something else that I think is kind of phenomenal. The general public will read old books, classics, and not have a problem with it, right? They will read Jane Austen, they will read Bram Stoker, they'll read all these classic literature that are black and white movies. Why is that? Why is it that they make an exception for literature and an excuse for film?
I don't know. That's kind of humorous to me, but I don't know. Not everyone who reads is a cinephile, and not all cinephiles are reading. So,
No, that's very true. I am comparing to different mediums here, but there's kind of a gray area between them. There's a small, maybe not that small, but there's a gray area of people who enjoy both.
oh, for
And
sure.
and it's interesting to see they'll choose a classic book over a classic movie. I really appreciate your thoughts on the unrelatable side because I didn't go there like right away.
Yeah, right away you kind of went to the idea of films.
Yeah,
Filmed in black and white and how their impact would have been different.
yeah.
And so, what were some of the ones that came to your mind when that was suggested?
Well, the first movie that came to mind was Third Man. So I was thinking people shy away from black and white films. Now I say in addition to what you said, because what you said is totally spot on. My initial thought was that people were shying away from black and white movies because aesthetically it's unrelated. It's not real life color. It's not showing me what I see in my daily life. Again, it's outdated more on a technical side than it is on a cultural, social side. The first movie that came to mind was The Third Man. There's no way it should ever be in color. If it were in color, I don't think I would care as much. Is that weird to say? If you haven't seen the movie, it's really spectacular. It's a great soundtrack. It's offbeat. It's equal parts drama and quirkiness, like quirky comedy. I'm not talking, slapstick or screwball. It's kind of a dark comedy.
Odd comedy aspect.
Yeah. There's a great reveal of the character. Had it been in color, there would be no impact, at least not for me. There's a different art appreciation to images in black and white. It's sort of abstract in a way, highlights things more. I think of Passion of Joan of Arc, the darkness of the wrinkles and the divots in people's faces in that movie. And it's just, I wouldn't have seen that color. Psycho's another one. There's a great moment where someone is peering through an eye hole at somebody, and it's a close up of this eye getting closer to this little peephole. It's in black and white, and it's beautiful. The black is so black, and the white shines so much, and the image just is burned in my head. I can't imagine it in color having the same impact or me even caring about it. It would just be another scene. But because of the way it was filmed, it's an isolated moment that delivers an emotional, like it delivers something that causes me to have an emotional response. Are there movies that you can think of would be like absolutely ruined if they were in color?
So I don't know if it'd be ruined, but it'd be different because I wrote a paper back in college in art appreciation for the movie Rebecca. And I hadn't seen Rebecca at that time, but I had read the book. And then I watched the movie, and the amount of contrast and shadows and the way things are framed in that movie are very purposeful. I had a really strong appreciation for that film after the fact of the viewing of what they did with black and white. And I know they have since remade Rebecca and it's in color. I have yet to see that version, but I feel like some things are probably going to get missed with the heightened suspense that occurs, the contrast that occurs. Color can enhance, but it can also be overwhelming to the point
Mm,
that we miss things.
hmm.
And so I'd be curious to see what the new one does, but based on the preview I've seen for it, I don't recognize that as the same type of feeling Rebecca gets for me. And so there's kind of that aspect.
Yeah, I mean, the shadows you mentioned, which are heightened in black and white. There's a certain style called chiaroscuro, I think. A lot of high contrast, and that it really, the emphasis on shadows, like in noir movies, a lot of black and white noir movies, shadows are so emphasized. I was thinking about the movie The Innocents.
Hmm.
Can you imagine that movie in color?
No.
It's destined for the high contrast. It's destined for shadows and highlights. It's a story that's terrifying, and I think it would lose that terror in color.
Hmm.
Yeah, I could go on. There's just so many great examples of how the the color of the film affects emotional response to it. And I can say the same thing for movies filmed in early Technicolor versus, like the later Eastman color or Warner color or Deluxe or something. That early Technicolor was so bright, so vibrant, and often used for, well, what they knew they would make money on, musicals and westerns. And because it was so expensive to film with Technicolor, you had to have Technicolor approved everything. Technicolor approved lighting, approved makeup, approved costumes, the set pieces. They were all over, and it was just so expensive. So in the late 30s, in the 40s, it almost was exclusively used for musicals and westerns. When you think about those movies, the bright colors, especially for musicals. I mean, when you think of musicals, don't you think bright colors?
Oh, yeah, vibrancy.
Yeah, yeah, and it adds to kind of the flamboyantness of the whole story and the characters and the music. So color choices is a choice. I mean, early silent films, obviously, in silent films actually there was a lot tinted. Silent films and early movies, in the 30s. I'm thinking of in the early 30s. When they just didn't have the money to film in color, it wasn't as much of an artistic choice. However, the cinematographers still used it as such.
Hmm.
Have you ever seen something that was filmed or even photographed in black and white and then later colorized?
Seen some, like, kind of that color tint where someone takes a picture and they fill it in the color.
Yeah. What do you think of the end result of seeing something you've seen that was photographed intentionally in black and white and then colorized.
I think it's a neat technique. I can tell there's a lot of work that went into it, but the color looks drab to me, like it doesn't exist in that time.
Like superimposed almost, like
Yeah,
it's on top of it, it's not in it.
yeah, because I know they have colorized versions of It's a Wonderful Life, I think.
Yeah.
I have never seen it. You're not a fan. I have never seen it, so I'd be interested to see if it changes what I think of the film, as I've only seen it in the black and white.
I think 'cause I've seen enough. And what I've seen is it rips out the destitution in the despair. The color is stupid. It is too bright. It is too wonderful
Mm.
for the subject. It's just
So it's just colorized incorrectly then.
yeah, I don't know if there's much that could be done. See, the thing is when movies or pictures or whatever are photographed in black and white, some things are accentuated. Crevices, lines on faces, shadows, and it's baked into the photography when they do so in black and white, and it looks great. When you add color to it, kind of muddles it all. Like it makes it all look weird. All of a sudden, people's shadows aren't deep anymore. They don't seem to represent the same thing. Lines in the faces have gone, so you don't see an expression that was there to begin with.
Maybe.
I'm not a fan of the colorization. I agree with you, it's a neat technique, like what Peter Jackson did with the World War II footage, taking all that and colorizing. And I must say, the technique they used, the style of coloring they did, it wasn't like Technicolor. It wasn't like what Ted Turner did in the 80s or tried to do. This is different. They really tried to hit on natural tones, and it looks good, and it does bring it to life more. Now, the difference I think between that and what we were talking about with movies, cinema, these are not for the art's sake. These are for people to relate to the past through raw footage. You know what I mean? So it's not entertainment. It's just footage of people that happen to be shot in black and white, and they've colorized it, and so now it feels like we're watching natural people. It wasn't meant to be an abstract looking thing.
Right.
It just
So,
was what they had on
but a
stock.
lot of times when they were filming black and white, there's a lot of intentionality of where the shadows are placed, what's going on.
Right.
Whereas when you're shooting a subject with a camera lens for photo, the point is just to get the picture and you're not really worried about shadows. We're not trying to convey a story so much as just provide information. And
Right. They're
so,
just documenting. They're
right,
not trying any artistic approach or
if they
anything.
had a colored camera at the time, they would
They
have
would have
had a
used it.
colored photo. I wonder if some of that intentionality is lost nowadays with shadows, wrinkles, things like that, with all the color and vibrancy there is, if that's lost a little.
I think there are some filmmakers that still try to preserve that, but I agree with you. I think the majority of it is absent. I think of like Drive, which I haven't completed that movie. I saw parts in film class. It's in color, but it's like noir color. So it's filmed to accentuate the darker parts
Mm.
and to accentuate the lighter parts too. It's pretty cool. So you can see lines on faces. You can see crevices. So it exists with some filmmakers using color, but it is not nearly. It's a lost. I think it's a lost art. You're only going to find it with filmmakers who have this connection to past cinema. Like Martin Scorsese, even Spielberg. You're going to see better shots, better lighting, better staging because they have a connection to the origins of it. And because of that connection, they're able to apply those techniques now to help convey stories better. or not better, just their own stories. Whereas you just watch, I'm not picking on this movie, but you just watch Cheaper by the Dozen, right? It's the one with Steve Martin. It's just photographed, it's not, and I'm not pooing on the director of photography for that movie. They did a decent job. It was lit real well, and it got across the feelings I was supposed to get from the movie.
Right.
But it's not a general art that I think we see. When there were the black and white movies in especially the late 30s and early 40s, every photographer just about was doing something artistic with it.
Correct.
Every single one. They're like, yeah, okay, it's black and white, but we're going to do it. We're going to make these characters dark, make these characters bright. Even the use of grayscale is really good. My long-winded answer or response to what you said is, yeah, it's a lost art. People that are like, oh, it's black and white. I'm not going to watch that. How would you get them to watch one? And what would you what would you choose?
Depends upon the person.
Right. No, I understand that. So let's say this person digs modern comedy.
Well, then I would go with something like Safety Last or Vivacious Lady, both very comedic films, which I think you can show the transition from that time period to how comedy has remained the same and changed, and where some things have gotten their start from. What would you choose?
Probably Some Like It Hot.
And that's a good one.
I feel like the photography matches the movie pretty well because it's kind of a brooding photography in areas, and the movie itself is a little deep in theme in those areas that it's shot like that. And then when it's time to, shine on the humor, it matches the
Right.
lighting and everything. I think about the beach scene. It's been brilliantly lit. Tony Curtis is doing his Cary Grant voice, and he's from Shell Oil, and he's having the whole exchange with Marilyn Monroe. It's just really funny. It's such a chipper moment, and the lighting helped with that. So I would pick that because of a couple reasons. If someone was into modern comedy, this movie is very difficult to not laugh at.
Mm-hmm.
Its subject matter is really funny, I think. Definitely more modern for its time. And then it would be a great way for them to be able to see how photography, even black and white photography in a comedy, was used for purposes of telling a story.
That's a great pick.
Thank you.
So if you haven't seen a black and white film or even a silent film and you're looking for a recommendation, message us with some movies that you do like, and we'll give you some suggestions to help you with your journey.
I think it would also be cool if you could message us maybe the movies that you segued into black and white movies with. Message us, do that. So there's a couple ways you can message us. You could send us a message over Instagram or Facebook on our That's Our Take official pages. And you can also email us at rccpresents@gmail.com. Yeah. So please tell us what movies got you into black and white, and if you haven't seen any and would like suggestions, as Lara said. And as always, that's our